What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and today we are going to look on the edge at this Typhlosion. And I want everyone to appreciate for a minute just how cool this card really is. It is one of those cards that really caught my eye right away, but it's kind of slipped under the radar, I think, for a lot of other players. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's a stage 2. I mean, that does turn a lot of people off. It's got to be pretty immediately impressive as a stage 2 to get most people's attention. And granted, it has a 3 energy retreat cost on top of it. But let's look at this holistically. 150 HP is enough to be able to take most hits, well enough to survive it and basically be a 2-hit KO, which most EXs are 2-hit KOs as well for most opponents. So that's not so bad. And then its first attack for 1 fire energy is discard the top 5 of your deck, and this attack does 80 damage times the number of energy you discarded. And that's not just basic energies, that's just energies. And that's pretty awesome when you think about it, because you get 5 chances to hit what you're looking for. And if you hit even 2 of them, that's 160 damage. I mean, when you think about that, muscle band that. And that's already 180. That'll knock out any EX pretty much that's not named Wailord EX or Omega. And that's pretty outstanding right there. And if you hit 3 or more, 3 with no boosts whatsoever, you're looking at 240 damage. That'll take pretty much anything out except for, well, once again, Wailord EX and a couple of other exceptions, or if your opponent's got something weird on the field with, like, Hard Charm or something like that. But generally speaking, that's going to be a KO. And if you hit 4 or more, that should be KOing anything that doesn't have some kind of weird ability or something. That's pretty amazing, and there are lots of ways we can combo with that to make that easier. First of all, we can just run more energies. That's always one way we can do that. But we can also consider things like, say, Energy Recycler or Super Rod. Super Rod gives us more options, but doesn't put as much back in, whereas Energy Recycler just plain old plumps up our deck with fire energies we can put back in, basically. And that makes our Massive Eruption pretty cool. As we increase the odds of getting an energy off the top of our deck, the more damage we're going to be dealing more reliably with our Massive Eruption. And that's pretty amazing, especially when you consider the fact that we can easily thin our deck out with things like Hoopa EX, Ultra Ball, Skyla, stuff like that. There are lots of ways for us to pull other things out of our deck and kind of get them out of the way. But that's not all he does. Yes, he can be an amazing Massive Eruption deck right there. You only have to put 1 fire on him. Your whole deck would just be about landing Typhlosion into your active slot as quickly as possible and playing through your deck really fast, and then energy recycling everything back in. That's easy to do, and that would be an amazing combo deck. Maybe one we could build some other time, hint, hint, hint. But unlike a lot of cards, this is actually kind of like 2 decks in one. Because Typhlosion also has this cool Flare Destroy attack. For 2 fire and a colorless, it's 130 damage. Okay, that's pretty good. That'll 2-hit KO pretty much anything. You have to discard an energy attached to him, but then you get to discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, putting them in a really weird situation. If they want to, say, attack you back, then they got to commit another energy to a Pokemon who's probably about to get knocked out anyway. And if they want to just abandon that Pokemon because they don't want to go that route, well, then it's almost like you KO'd it on the first turn instead, because then they're not going to be attacking you back on the second, most likely. So it's pretty good. Energy removal is just a good strategy anyway. Not to mention the fact that we can easily, say, Lysander things for us to Flare Destroy and kind of disrupt our opponent's setup. That's pretty amazing. Of course, having to discard an energy in order to discard an energy from our opponent is not necessarily the best deal. There was, in fact, an Empoleon that was a promo in the Black and White era that did pretty much the same thing for pretty much the same cost. But there's a big difference here, and that is that this is fire, which brings items like, say, Blacksmith to mind, or Burning Energy. Yeah, this isn't technically an item, I'm meaning that figuratively. It brings cards to mind anyway, like Blacksmith. Blacksmith can easily just restore 2 energies to Typhlosion, or power him up more quickly, since we may be discarding energies anyway. This could actually accelerate our guy as well as maintain him. But with Burning Energy, you never have to commit another energy or support or anything to your Typhlosion at all. As long as he's got 1 Burning Energy on him, you can just discard that to his Flare Destroy, remove their energy, and then when you discard this, it'll come right back and let you do it again. And when you think about it, 3 energy on a Fire-type Pokemon that deals 130 damage and is a guaranteed energy removal, that's pretty darn good. That's an amazing deal in and of itself. It's a little bit slower, more controlly of a strategy than what we've got over here, but when you think about it in terms of like, hey, we could be running Enhanced Hammer. Hey, we could be running Crushing Hammer with that strategy too. All of a sudden, this Flare Destroy is looking pretty menacing. And these are both viable decks that I think are worth building, and we might look into that. But I want you to take a look at it in the meantime, kind of put it together on Trading Card Game Online, do stuff like that, because this is a pretty cool Pokemon, and it's a pretty cool deck. Its print run is disturbingly low. I haven't seen a lot of people who can bust it at all out of packs. But, you know, oftentimes when a rare gets kind of a lower print run, that kind of tends to indicate that it's going to be pretty good. So anyway, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check me out on Twitter. My link is below, and I will see you next time.